All right. Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you here. Before we begin tonight, I'm honored to introduce Friar Reginald Simmons from St. Aidan's Church to lead us in our invocation. Yep, come on up here, Brian.
Here.
And just so the audience knows, Friar Simmons is new here and came and visited with us not too long ago. Wanted to get involved, so we appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Let us pray. Oh God, you made us in your own image and redeemed us through Jesus, your Son. Look with compassion upon the entire human family, especially those of whom were lost on last evening, early yesterday morning in Las Vegas. Bless the families. Bless all those who were lost. Send down now upon those who hold office in this city the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. So now I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Milton City Council for Monday, October 2nd, 2017 to order. Sudi, if you'd please call the roll and make general announcements.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm happy to call roll for the October 2nd, 2017 regular meeting. I would like to remind those in attendance to please silence all cell phones at this time. Those attending the meeting who would like to provide public comment, either during the public hearing or during the call for public comment, you are required to complete a public comment card prior to speaking on the item. There is no public comment for consent agenda items or items under first presentation. Those called to speak will be taken in the order that the speaker cards are received by the city clerk prior to the beginning of tonight's meeting. All speakers will identify themselves by name, address, and organization, if applicable. The City Council may allow public comment on either an agenda item or general public comment from a representative of such an organized group or association, provided the individual has filed a notarized affidavit that they have the authority to speak on behalf of the organization on a form provided by the city clerk prior to the agenda item being called. Demonstration of any sort within the chamber is prohibited, so please refrain from any applause, cheering, booing, outbursts, or dialogue with any person speaking. Anyone in violation will be asked to leave. As I call roll this evening, please confirm your attendance. Mayor Joe Lockwood.
Here.
Councilmember Karen Thurman.
Here.
Councilmember Bill Lusk.
Here.
Councilmember Bert Hewitt.
Here.
Councilmember Joe Longoria.
Here.
For the record, Councilmember Rick Morrick is absent and Councilmember Matt Kuntz is running late. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I want to welcome everybody here tonight, and I also want to offer the City of Milton's condolences and thoughts and prayers to those in Las Vegas in terrible tragedy. So, Sudi, if you'd please sound the next item.
Our next item is approval of the meeting agenda. This is agenda item number 17250.
Okay, do I have a motion on approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. I have a motion for approval from Councilmember Hewitt, second from Councilmember Longoria. My mind's So, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, next item's public comment. Do we have any public comment? We do. So, Public comment is a time for citizens to share information with the mayor and city council and to provide input and opinions on any matter that is not scheduled for its own public hearing during today's meeting. There's no discussion on items on the consent agenda or first presentation from the public or from council. Each citizen who chooses to participate in public comment must complete a comment card and submit it to the city clerk. Please remember this is not a time to engage the mayor or members of city council in conversation. And when your name is called, please come forward and speak into the microphone stating your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes for remarks. So, Sudi, if you'll please call the first item, or first speaker.
Our first speakers are Simon Zabar-Jadi and Linda Kadim.
Good evening. I'm Linda Kadam. My address is 715 Greenview Terrace in Crooked Creek in Milton. To introduce you.
My name is Simon Zabarjadi. I live in 12821 Doe Drive in Milton. We are delighted to be at your presence. The Baha'is of Milton will be celebrating the bicentennial birth of the founder of the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah, on October 21st. So we are here to invite the Honorable Mayor, esteemed council members, city manager, the staff, to join us on this historic event. You may not know much about the Baha'i faith, so Linda will give you a brief information about who Baha'is are.
The members of the Baha'i faith spread across the world and were the second most widespread religion after Christianity. Our community in Milton is here to serve the community, and a few of the principles that Baha'u'llah brought are the unity of religion, the unity of the nations, the elimination of all forms of prejudice, the equality of men and women. So we have a small community in Milton, but we're here really to serve you, and we'd like to use this occasion of the anniversary of the birth of our founder to reach out to the community and let you know that we're here. Thank you for your time.
So we ask you to save October 21st to join us at 7:30 p.m. You have your invitations, and would love to have you in there. Again, we are, as Linda said, we are small, but we are part of a worldwide community. About 7 million members will be celebrating this historic event, and would love to be a part of that whole big community in Milton as well. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Sudi, do we have any more public comment?
Yes, we have one more, and that's Mr. Tim Becker.
Good evening, Council. Tim Becker, 15625 Canterbury Chase, Milton, Georgia. Tonight, Council, I want to speak about something that you all know about, which is that an ethics complaint was filed against me by a citizen in Milton. This citizen is the member of a board of an organization here in Milton that I'll speak to in just a moment. The ethics complaint is false and frivolous, and I believe that one or more members of council are behind this ethics complaint, which is very unfortunate. 3 members of council have been going around telling citizens, whoever that they can tell, that I am under quote-unquote investigation. I think that's really sad. They were saying this before I had even submitted a response to the Georgia Government Transparency and Campaign Finance Commission. The commission does nothing until a response is generated. So to say that somebody's under investigation before a response is even filed is absolutely false. I will start blogging tomorrow, and I will be advocating for and against candidates here in Milton. And if you don't like it, then don't come to the blog. If you don't like it, then start your own blog, okay? I have also filed my own complaint against an organization that the complainant is a board member of. And in fact, this organization is in violation of the Georgia ethics laws. I am not. It has been contended that I am an independent committee, but to be an independent committee, you have to take donations. I do not solicit or receive donations. This other group does. And the other group that I'm mentioning has also lost their LLC status because they have not renewed with the state of Georgia their corporation. 2 council members were actually named in my complaint, so I guess using their definition of under investigation, they are also under investigation at this point. I also want to mention that the organization that this person that complained against me is a 501c3, but their 501c3 status has been revoked because they have not for 3 years filed any paperwork with the IRS. They are also an educational charity. And in their application for being an educational charity, they said that they would not engage in any political lobbying or advocacy. And of course, that's all they do. Also, they are not supposed to advocate in any way that would benefit directors that are in that organization. And I would contend that if you are lobbying the city to buy land that's next to the property that you own, that you are in fact violating that part of the IRS code. So what you have is an organization in Milton that has filed charges against me with the Ethics Commission that is an educational charity, collecting money as an educational charity, but then using that money for political advocacy. I think that that's wrong. I want council to know that I am going to pursue legal action, and I'm going to vigorously pursue it. And this will involve, in all likelihood, testimony from certain council members. The problem I think that certain council members have is that the people that have filed these complaints have been talking a lot, okay? So that's going to be problematic, I think. And that's all that I really have to say on the matter. I mean, I don't think that our state ethics commission should be used as a weapon against citizens or a weapon against candidates. And I think it's really unfortunate that this complaint was filed against me, but because it was, I felt like I have to take action in return. Thank you.
Okay. Sudi, do we have any more public comment?
That's all, sir.
Okay. We'll move on to our consent agenda. Sudi, if you'll please sound the item.
First item is approval of the September 13th, 2017 special called City Council meeting minutes, agenda item number 17251. Next is approval of the September 25th, 2017 regular City Council meeting minutes, agenda item number 17252. Our third consent agenda item is approval of bid results for Milton Streetscape Project PI 00-11675 and transmittal of request for Georgia Department of Transportation authorization to award construction contract to XLR Construction LLC. Agenda item number 17253. Our fourth and final consent agenda item this evening is approval of a professional services agreement between the City of Milton and the Georgia Municipal Association, Inc. for telecommunications and right-of-way management. Agenda item number 17254.
Mayor, I'll move to approve the consent agenda as prepared by staff.
Okay, I've got a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, we have no items under reports and presentations. First presentation, public hearing or zoning agenda. So if we can move on to unfinished business, Sudi, if you'll please sound the item.
This item is approval of an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Milton, Georgia, to establish the ad valorem tax rate of the city of Milton for fiscal year 2017 and for other purposes. First presentation was at the September 25th city council meeting. Agenda item number 17247, Ms. Stacy Inglis.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight before you is a consideration of an ordinance for the maintenance and operating millage rate of 4.731 mils, and then the general obligation debt millage rate of 0.321 mils. That was approved. The general obligation bond, as you know, was approved through the November 2016 ballot. The debt service for the first year is just interest only, so the total amount of debt service is almost $732,000. So the 0.321 mils will cover that debt service payment. I would like to make a note that future debt service payments will be more, and so the debt service millage rate will be a little higher in the future. So I just want to prepare citizens for that. First year is a lot lower than it should and will normally be. The real and personal property tax digest is coming in a little over $2.3 billion in assessments, and that is net of any exemptions that we have. This represents a 2.7% increase over the 2016 taxes. The motor vehicle assessed values in 2017 are about $38 million and have decreased by 31% in 2016. This is because that tax is what was considered the birthday tax is now being replaced by the title ad valorem tax that is being collected at the purchase time of the vehicle. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions?
No? Okay.
Okay. We'll open up for motion.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 17247.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hewitt, second from Councilmember Longoria. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, Sudi, next item, and new business. Will you please sound that one?
This item is consideration of a resolution adopting the Capital Improvements Element 2017 annual update relating to the city's impact fee program. Agenda item number 17255, Ms. Michelle McIntosh Ross.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Department of Community Affairs as well as the Atlanta Regional Commission reviewed our impact fee CIE and has submitted that we have completed all of the requirements. So we are free to adopt the resolution for the CIE, and I have Bill Ross, our impact fee consultant, who is here to answer any questions.
Okay. Open up for questions for Mr. Ross.
Mr. Ross?
I'm Bill Ross with Ross Associates, and Michelle was waving me up here, so I thought I'd better come up and answer any questions.
Councilmember Lusk has a question.
Welcome back. I have a question on one of the spreadsheets pertaining to roads, and it's on sheet 11 of 16. And it appears, if you're with me,
We're on page 6?
11. Well, it's page 6, yeah.
Yeah.
Page 11 of the agenda. The first 2, 4, 6, 7 items on the top of that list are essentially complete. But over in the, it doesn't appear in, the impact fees expended column. There's no costs associated there.
Yes, sir. There is a cost, of course. They did not use the impact fees toward paying for those particular projects. So that's why impact fees expended is zero. They were funded from other sources, which basically carries your impact fee money forward to be used for future projects.
Sure. So should those 6 projects be on this list then?
The answer is maybe. I like to put the old projects on there as they're completed so that the state and the Atlanta Regional Commission can continuously be able to see the whole program that was adopted and where we are. So I continue to put the old projects on, even though they're completed, even though impact fees were not used for them, just so the state and ARC know what's going on.
So should there be a note to differentiate from those projects, I guess is my question. It's kind of misleading to that point.
If they were in fact completed, the dates indicate that. If something is continuing on in some way, we would make a note about the projects either delayed or continuing or whatever. So, and of course, these projects do not appear on your community work program because they're done. So it's not confusing to the state. It's just confusing on this report.
Well, in that one column, it has maximum funding from impact fees, and those first 6 projects are in that column.
Yes.
It's part of the $15 million total. I just think it's misleading.
Impact fees could have been spent on them to the extent of this report. They were not, and they were completed already back in 2014, and Carter can probably speak to them better in terms of completion and funding, but impact fees per se had not been used on them in this case. They could have been, but they were not, so those monies roll forward to other projects in the future.
Okay.
Is it possible under the status remarks column then to put completed without using impact fees or something so that you would just know that those items are not ones that were still in process, but ones that have already been completed without using the impact fees?
We could have, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Joe?
So when I look at this spreadsheet, and I would agree there's probably some things we could do to make it more clear, but the total amount of impact fees that were devoted to any particular project would be the total of the impact fees expended from previous years and the fiscal year 2016 impact fees expended. If we sum those up, that would essentially, it should total the total impact fees to date, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Was there a question there?
No.
The answer is yes.
That was just making sure I understood it the right way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And remember that the impact fee program started like the day after, so, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, one comment.
Sure.
It is a joy to be working with your staff here on impact fees. The finance director, Kathy, Michelle, are top flight. These are good people. I love working with them. And they're particularly good because they'll call me and ask me questions. I have some clients that don't call me and ask questions. They just mess things up. So they are a joy to work with. Thank you.
Thank you very much for saying that. Okay. I'll open up for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve agenda item number 17-255, consideration of a resolution adopting the capital improvements element 2017 annual update relating to the city's impact fee program.
Second the motion.
Okay, have a motion from Councilmember Thurman, a second from Councilmember Lusk. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. So, Sudi, if you will please sound the next new business item.
Item is consideration of the following subdivision plat. Vaughn Lake Estates, final plat, 12 lots, 16.203 total acres, 0.74 lots per acre. Agenda item number 17256, Ms. Kathy Field.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. This is, as was just mentioned, Vaughn Lakes Estate, final plat, 12 lots, 16.203 acres. The site is on Freemanville Road. The northernmost boundary is Nix Road. And the plat essentially shows 12 lots. I will mention to you that 3 of those lots are on Nix Road, which, as you know, is a gravel road. Subsequent to this plat being submitted, and it is grandfathered in at one lot per acre, the ordinance was changed to require that all lots on gravel roads be a minimum of 3. This was grandfathered in before that change was made, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Kathy, just to make sure we're clear, it has a dual frontage on the gravel road, but the primary frontage is within the subdivision, correct?
Yes.
And the driveways will come in and out of the subdivision, not to Nix Road.
That's correct. Yes, yes. And you can see here that there are 2 entrances off of Freemanville. There is the main cul-de-sac road, and then for the remaining 3 parcels that are not served by that cul-de-sac road, which are right here, these 3, there is a driveway that comes in that services lots 1, 2, and 3. So that's how the access will work on this plat.
Okay, any other questions on that? I'll open up for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 17-256.
Second.
We have a motion for approval from Councilmember Hewitt, second from Councilmember Longoria. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll open up to council reports. Is there anything council wants to report on? Bill?
Yeah, this is Council Member Longoria's birthday today. I think we need to wish him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thought I was going to sneak by.
Okay. Anything else? We just did. You go add something to it? Go ahead.
Well, I would, if that's okay. I mean, I'm sorry for being late. I apologize. In light of today's events and being from the city of Las Vegas, I just wanted to share a few thoughts about what I saw when I woke up this morning. You know, all of us come from somewhere. And as children, we grow up in homes and share experiences, learning what it means to be human and learning how we ought to relate to each other. As for me, I was born in Phoenix, and when I was 5, my parents and I moved to a small town in the White Mountains of Arizona called Sholo. However, at the age of 9, my family and I moved to the city of Las Vegas. There I grew up with friends I made in the Scouts and sports and school. My father built a successful restaurant business there, retired once, went to law school at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and began practicing law. My mother, an avid horseback rider, did her best to make sure that she raised me according to Christian values and high standards. When we first moved to Las Vegas, I was excited because there was going to be a dinosaur exhibit at the Tropicana Hotel. At the age of 9, I appreciated my mother sharing this experience with me, and it's one of those memories I always hold dear. The Tropicana Hotel was less than 200 yards from today's event. It's where they rushed people inside to avoid being hit from sniper rounds coming from the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Throughout my teenage years, my friends and I would spend time walking up and down Las Vegas Boulevard. In fact, my junior prom was at the Excalibur Hotel, not 300 yards from today's event. On Las Vegas Boulevard, we would meet and speak with all these types of people, Americans both young and old, from every state of these great United States, and tourists from across both the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. It was truly a melting pot, and there I got to see not the differences that separate us, but the humanity that unites us. I saw people smile and wonder not in the lights above, but in the lights in their eyes, the lights that brought out the very spirit of who they were. As I grew older and played high school sports and became an Eagle Scout, I developed relationships with people both younger and older than I was. One of these was my friend Steve Hoffer, and my Boy Scout troop leader from Troop 249. I remember how this particular scout leader had confided in me, a 15-year-old kid, that he was being called to become a priest. I remember that I had gone away to college and moved to Atlanta and eventually to Milton, Georgia, and how I took my wife back to Las Vegas to visit my family. And on one of those Sundays, my father took us to the Roman Catholic Shrine of the Most Holy Redeemer. There I had to smile when I saw my scout leader who had been through the seminary and become a priest. And ever since then, he's been growing a parish of good, faithful people in the Las Vegas Valley. I wrote about that memory in my book, To God and My Country. That church is less than 100 yards from today's events. As we grow older, we have all these memories of good relationships, good experiences, and great friends. We remember those moments that define our lives and make us who we are today. This morning, as I woke up to the news of an attack on over 20,000 innocent people, an attack that left 59 dead and over 500 hospitalized, I saw the pictures and knew exactly where that was. The shooting happened less than 200 yards, where I had my memory of the dinosaurs, my junior prom, and where I see my friend who would become a priest. And all three of those experiences happened right next to the violence that we saw on today's news. When I saw that, my heart broke. I still have friends who have not clicked on Facebook and mentioned whether they are safe or not. My prayers continue to ask that they are safe, and of course I don't know most of the people who suffered in that attack. My heart joins them in their sufferings, and what's interesting, though, is how the attack tried to affect my memories. The memories I had were good and came from the innocence of youth, and yet one person with the use of violence tried to destroy all that is good. I wondered how I would feel the next time I go back to that church with my father and know of that 59 people that had lost their lives on the other side of the wall. With the memory of my mother teaching his son, or friends enjoying each other's company, or of seeing one faithful man devote his life to God, be removed by the knowledge that on this day violence left its mark. When tragedy strikes, we all have a choice, and it's just that, a choice. While I will grieve over the place where I grew up and join in the spirit of sufferings of many of my childhood friends and family, I will not let this affect my memories. Here in our great hometown of the city of Milton, both as governing officials and as staff, and especially as passionate citizens, we need to remember the purpose of that which we do. Our goal and our legacy remains to make this community of ours a better place, better than that which we found. We may have our fights and our disagreements, but when we lose our sense of humanity, we fail in our mission. Especially for those of us who govern, it falls upon us to make sure that violence, whether of weapons or of words, do not entrench themselves in our day-to-day interactions. For it is up to us to make sure that the memories of our children retain their innocence so that they can grow up to become the great men and women that they were destined to become. Make no mistake, I'm very saddened by the evil that we woke up to this morning. I intend to grieve for my family and friends. However, I am heartened by the courage and the humanity that was achieved by many innocent men and women despite the most horrific of circumstances. My prayers are with the city of my youth. My flag and my home will remain at half-staff until Friday evening, as has been directed by the President of the United States. And most importantly, I ask that all of us continue to remember the spirit of our humanity as we go about our daily lives and make our homes of today brighter for tomorrow's future. I just felt like I had to say that today. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, we'll move on to staff reports. Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, as usual, I'll start off with our T-Splost update. So for the month of September, actually I think it's probably an August collection, but we receive it in September, we pulled in $519,506, which is still slightly below the anticipated revenues that that we had thought we were going to get. So right now we're a little over $2.5 million in actual accumulated revenue, and that's running about $385,000 short overall for the project from what we anticipated. In general, we're running about 86% of anticipated collections. So for that, the way we had set this up was we had the Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 projects. So the Tier 1 projects were based on anticipated revenues at 85%, Tier 2 at 85 to 100, and Tier 3 projects were if we collected up to 115% of anticipated revenue. So we're tracking right on with Tier 1 projects. Real quick, those Tier 1 projects would be what is listed here. So Morris Road widening, which was a big project down to connect basically Morris to the new interchange improvements that would be done for McGinnis Ferry. A Windward Parkway project that we were doing in conjunction with the city of Alpharetta, the Hopewell at Bethany projects, which we should be bringing forward a concept plan in October for that. Freemanville at Birmingham, I don't know if I need to read all of this list, but right now the projects that we've got going are the Northeast Connector Road. So we just did a concept meeting for that this week. We had about 10 people show up. So nothing real negative on that about what was anticipated for a project of that nature. We've been working closely with the property owners on that, so they're all aware of the project that's coming forward. We've got as I mentioned, the Hopewell at Bethany, that concept plan coming forward in October. So that's kind of a rebirth of one we did a few years ago. So we'll bring that forward. And then we've got out to bid right now Hopewell at Hamby and Hopewell at the Thompsons for a concept plan, so we can get a little bit better understanding of what types of improvements we would anticipate at those two intersections. All right, let's see. The Mayfield Road sidewalks, you approved the next step in that project tonight. So we'll be looking to do a little bit more paperwork with GDOT to get authorization for construction on that, but we would anticipate getting that authorization late October, early November to go ahead and get the Mayfield Road sidewalks, which would be from the main signalized intersection here in Crabapple down to Charlotte Road. So streetscape improvements on both sides of the road down to the library, essentially. State Route 372 here in Crabapple, our Heritage Walk project. They've been doing some waterline work at the proposed roundabout on Crabapple Road at Crabapple Chase subdivision. So once they get that waterline work done here, hopefully this week they'll begin in earnest on the roundabout construction at that location. They anticipate hopefully having that operational by the end of November. The waterline work will then move over to the other roundabout on State Route 372 in front of Strawberry Fields. And they've got a couple of months worth of waterline work over there. So hopefully once they get the first roundabout up and running, the waterline work at that location will be done and they can move over and start working on the second roundabout. The Batesville Road 372 intersection. So they have been looking at that. They're still doing some traffic counts. They're currently doing a design to add some left turn capacity at that intersection on 372. The funding that they're looking at on that particular project is limited to $200,000 worth of improvements. If the project exceeds the $200,000 threshold, they'll either come to us and ask if we want to help participate in that, or they'll move it on to their capital program, which could be a 3 to 5 to 7 year type program, depending on the level of funding that they're looking for. So they have the design. They're working on the cost estimates for that right now. So as soon as I have any further information on where that falls, I will let you know. The initial indication was that it would be right at about $200,000, $197,000 for the concept that they came up with. So they'll be right at the limit of that particular funding. And that is all I had for tonight.
Okay. Any questions for Carter?
Carter, how long do those concept plans usually take to get in, especially for Thompson, Hopewell, Hamby, and Hopewell?
The traffic counts and the concept layouts, probably in the 3 to 4 month range.
Okay. That's all I need to know. Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else? Bill?
So this list here in the phase of the Tier 1, are they in any particular order then?
No, sir, not on that particular list. We have bounced around that list based on the way that we believe the funding will come in, so that we're always positive in the funding. So we have staged them in such a way as that we've always got money in the bank to afford to do them.
Okay. Thanks, Carter.
Thank you.
All right, next is Fire. Chief Edgar.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. A couple quick items. As part of the fire department, part of the fire department's strategic plan was to institute a CERT program for the community, and I'm pleased to announce that that program is starting on Wednesday, October 11th at 6 p.m. We advertised it last week. It went out through the assistance of our communications manager, Shannon, and within the first couple of hours, we had 13 responses. So it was a pretty exciting to see that the community is interested in this program, and that we will be kicking it off with the first 16 members. And this will teach or train them to respond to an emergency within their own communities to help themselves as well as help their neighbors during an event before the fire department or first responders, police, and all can reach them. They'll be able to take care of themselves. It's going to be a program that will run for 6 weeks, and we will have a graduation on November 20th. So we're pretty excited about that. The next item is with our partnership with Home Depot. We have a fire safety fair that's going to take place Saturday morning, just prior to the Crabapple Festival. So if you all want to come out and participate in our fire safety fair with Home Depot, you're all welcome. We would love to see you there. And finally, that fair runs from 10 to 1. So a little overlap. Go to Home Depot and then go to the Crabapple Festival. And then the last item is, you may be aware, is that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the Milton firefighters have volunteered to participate in this, and they purchased the pink T-shirts, which has our fire department logo on it, and then it has the One Nation, Faith, Hope, and Cure on the back. The firefighters have voluntarily purchased these with their own money, and they've been permitted to wear them throughout the month of October. So if you see our firefighters out there with the pink T-shirt on, that's what that's all about. So, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Chief Edgar?
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Sarah?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a few things for y'all this evening. First, if you've seen your Georgia Trend that came in the mail today, there's a nice section on North Fulton, but more importantly, there's a page here on Whitetail Bike Shop that talking about the new tap, the 4-tap license that we just issued. But the cool thing I thought about this article was that it shows how we listened to a business, we listened to a need, and he talks about how this wasn't something that was available to in Milton. He came to the city and he worked with us to make it possible. So I think that's pretty cool that that's featured in Georgia Trend for everybody across the state to see. The second is with the Buxton contract that we've had in the past that we renewed this year. I have ICSC, the International Shopping Center Conference, is in
International Council of Shopping Centers.
There you go. Thank you, Karen.
A real lively conference.
It's in Atlanta in a couple weeks, and I have 3 meetings set up with some of those prospects from that to actually meet with them and talk with them in Atlanta about Milton. Next, we have been doing gangbusters on grand openings lately. I know I've been on y'all's calendar recently for that, and we've had 4 in the last couple of weeks, and we just keep getting more and more. Shannon is doing such a great job of showcasing them on Facebook, so people who maybe opened 6 or 8 months ago are now coming to us asking to do grand openings, so we're going to be doing more of those, so keep looking for those on your calendar. And those are my 3 things for tonight.
Any questions, Sarah? Okay.
Good? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Shannon, you're last, but not least.
Mayor, members of the council, good evening. Just tagging on to what Sarah just said, we just created an HTML form on the website, so they'll be able to complete that online for a grand opening or ribbon cutting. It's also been embedded into the new business license application, so at the same time they're going through their checklist, they can actually complete as part of the step, go out, complete the online form. That'll go automatically to Sarah, so at the same time that they're in the process of getting their new business license, we can facilitate their grand opening date and work with them and make that city to business connection for them. We have launched some other new online forms, which I told you a little bit about. We did our medically fragile and seniors registration form, which we sort of kicked off a little bit sooner rather than later in advance of Irma. That continues to go well. And we also will have some other additional forms that we'll build out. In terms of resident education, Tuesday Tidbits will conclude, this first series will conclude tomorrow with T-SPLOS. So a lot of what you saw with Carter's presentation will incorporate in that. We've gotten incredible feedback from residents, whether it's thanking us for the information, conveying misinformation that we had an opportunity to correct, also suggestions to departments based on the topic. So it's been a great engagement tool with residents, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. We've also gotten some interesting topics. We asked them to tell us if they had any additional suggestions. So we've got some interesting topics that we'll carry in the future, but what we'll do is we'll build those out in the coming weeks, and then we'll hold them as a series and a segment so that we're not inundating our residents with too many emails. Just some of the topics, cycling in Milton, sidewalks, Milton committees and what they do, yard debris burning safety, given our agricultural base, and then a green space update, as well as, how do we enact ordinances. So I think those are some interesting topics that we'll be able to cover. Traditional media, we're doing a little bit differently. We are doing media advisories in advance of events. It's a little bit different than my predecessors. That's best practice. Kind of followed along for the first year, doing business as usual, but we're doing a little bit different now. And then we'll have releases post-event where there are photos and quotes from participants, et cetera. Still plan to launch our resident communication survey as part of the property tax mailing, so that's, knock on wood, still going to happen. We have a new newsletter look and feel that will roll out this month, a brand new template. We've also changed all of our template designs so that they're all mobile friendly. Previously, we were using a lot of templates that were not mobile friendly, and so now they are, so it makes it much easier to read on your phone. Our open rates, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we continue to exceed the national average for business to consumer in a government category. So we still see about 33 to 38% based on the topic of open rates, which is really good given that it's about 22 to 25% in that category. Website, we continue to make some updates. We'll have more this week to try to streamline the content, update it, sort of a work in progress. And in terms of social media, we continue to see about a 2 to 3% increase in just raw numbers and followers. Facebook and Twitter, Instagram a little bit lower, about 1%, but I hope to maximize that with some of the Milton license hashtag work that we'll do with businesses as we go out. So with that, I will conclude my presentation and answer any questions.
Any questions for Shannon? Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, that'll conclude our meeting. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Second.
I have a motion to second to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. That's unanimous.